Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker is now just a little less than 2 weeks away from its official release by writer and director J.J. Abrams and Chris Terrio, as well as creator George Lucas. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future content. Now, one thing about Episode 9 is that a lot of fans have mixed reactions, or mixed feelings I should say, going into this movie and exactly how they feel about going to go ahead and see the final installment of the Skywalker saga based on what we have heard and seen about the film and the different changes and adjustments that Disney and Lucasfilm went through during the months of August, September, October, November, all those different months where a lot of reshoots and rewrites took place. Even in November, they were swapping out scenes and putting new ones in. So this was a big process for Disney and Lucasfilm, and they've really restructured the entire plot of this movie over the course of a couple of months in order to provide a different tone for the final installment of the Skywalker saga. And with that being said, this movie is actually said to be full of revelations, lots of different twists and turns that we have actually never been able to see in a Star Wars movie before this one. Now, what's really intriguing about this is that shot descriptions consisting of a sequence where it's explained that both Rey and Palpatine are said to be inside of his throne room, where Sidious begins to reveal specific revelations about her lineage and is said to confirm to Rey that she is indeed his granddaughter and that there is no escape for her from the dark side of the Force. It said that in the upcoming The Rise of Skywalker novelization, it will dive more into Rey's backstory, and specifically her parents, where it said that the novelization is due for release in March of 2020, is said to unveil a certain truth about Rey's parents, where it said that Rey's father had actually mentally connected with Luke Skywalker at one point in time, and that Luke even learned that Palpatine had a son somewhere in the galaxy. However, Luke Skywalker knew that Palpatine's son was not a Sith, but was afraid that he could pose a threat for the future of the galaxy. It's explained that in the novel it will go over how Palpatine's son was responsible for developing clones of his father, Palpatine, on the desert world of Jakku at one point in time for his father, to use the ability called Essence Transfer. However, during the Battle of Jakku, young Luke Skywalker destroyed all of the Palpatine clones that his son helped create, and that the son of Palpatine, who goes by the name of Yan, escaped and ran off somewhere in the galaxy. It said that the explanation of the Palpatine clones is that they were already in the works during the events of Return of the Jedi, and that Palpatine's son was already helping him at one point in time, preparing them for his transition. However, after the destruction of the Palpatine clones, this is where Palpatine and his son started developing clones of Supreme Leader Snoke to be used as a potential army of his new Sith Empire, and for Palpatine to use as a vessel at will. It said that at one point in time, Palpatine had trained his son through the ways of the dark side before running away from his father somewhere in the galaxy and meeting up with Rey's mother, which is said to explain why Rey is actually the granddaughter of Palpatine. Now, Rey's father, during his time of hiding from Palpatine, Palpatine's son, during his time of hiding away from Palpatine, would actually collect both Jedi and Sith lore to better understand the ways of the dark side and the light, where the Jedi, the Sith, etc., and at one point in time even became a member of the Church of the Force, which Lord San Tekka was also a part of. However, Yan was forced to mask his dark side energy, as he did not want anyone to sense that he had dark side tendencies from his father Palpatine. It's explained that Rey as a character in the upcoming film is modeled after the expanded universe version of Palpatine's grandson named Ken Palpatine. Rey is said to be loosely based off of Ken Palpatine from Star Wars Legends, and that J.J. Abrams got this idea from Chris Terrio, where they were researching many elements of the expanded universe to tell an original and unique story for Episode 9. The film's novelization is said to explain many more facts about Rey's father and his connection to Emperor Palpatine, along with many other secrets. So let's go over a couple of parts about this. Now, obviously we do know that J.J. Abrams is based in this movie heavily on Star Wars Legends material, also known as the EU. A lot of hardcore fans out there love the EU from the 1990s and the early 2000s. Do I agree that the EU went a little far at times? Absolutely, I do. But there were times where a lot of things started to make sense and were quite very intriguing. Now, the problem with Disney and Lucasfilm is that, yes, they are cherry-picking from the EU, but they're crafting it into something of their own. Now, I want to go over Rey's father in particular. Now, Rey's father is actually said to be the son of Palpatine that will have a full-on explanation in the form of the novelization of The Rise of Skywalker. Now, the problem that I do have with this is that not everybody is going to read the book. The novelization of The Rise of Skywalker, by the way, is due for release in March of 2020, where we will be learning a lot more about Rey's parents, even more so than what's going to be explained in the official film, due for release in just 12 days from now. So, Rey's father is going to be a big deal. It's actually going to be quite a large connection to Palpatine and how he was affiliated with developing the Palpatine clones that were destroyed by Luke Skywalker on Jakku during the Battle of Jakku, by the way, which took place 1 year after the Battle of Endor. So just 1 year after Return of the Jedi is where Palpatine's son really came into the picture more so, helping his own father, trying to bring him on the path to eternal life. And this also mirrors the expanded universe version of Palpatine's son named Triclops. Go ahead and look it up. It's a very interesting storyline. Now, with that being said, we do know that Rey's father will have a full-on explanation in this movie to a certain extent, but we're not going to learn about all the specifics in the movie. That's all, of course, with the novel itself. Now, the other thing that I find to be quite intriguing is that Rey's father, Palpatine's son, was also the one responsible for helping his father develop the Snoke clones. So the Snoke clones in the very beginning of this film will be discovered by Kylo Ren when he travels over to the world of Exegol. And once he goes inside of that base, into the world of Exegol, alright, he's going to find all these different barrels, these tanks, if you will, full of different versions of Supreme Leader Snoke, being used as a potential new army for his new Sith Empire, and as also a way for him to tap into the bodies as a vessel. Basically, we have learned before a couple days ago that Palpatine was Snoke all along during the events of The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, using Snoke as basically a puppet or as a remote, if you will, to control Kylo Ren from afar over in the unknown regions. Now, the thing about Rey's parents, alright, obviously we do know that Daisy Ridley has said several times that Rey's parents aren't really all that important in this story, which it really seems to be the case, yes, but it's her grandparents, and that all has to do with her grandfather Palpatine, right? The fact that Rey is modeled after Ken Palpatine. I don't know if you guys know about Ken Palpatine, but Ken Palpatine was a big thing in the Star Wars EU. He was basically the grandson of Palpatine in Star Wars Legends. I believe they explored this in the late 90s or the early 2000s, where Ken Palpatine was a big part of the story of the EU, very interesting part. He was also associated with the EU version of the Lost City, which Disney and Lucasfilm were trying to put into this movie before that particular scene was also deleted. So that's the thing about this film. It's not just about Palpatine and Rey's lineage, but it's also about everything in between. They're going to explore, Rey's parents. We are going to see them in the form of a vision or two when she touches the dagger and when she actually is able to see and witness the death of her parents by the hands of Achi, who, by the way, is said to be a creature that wants to destroy the Palpatine family, including Rey. And by the way, this is also going to explain as to why Rey is going to use Force Lightning at a point in time in the second act, where she takes down a ship that is carrying Chewbacca as a prisoner, and she believes that she indirectly killed Chewbacca, which hence is why she is yelling Chewie in one of the TV spots on the desert world of Pisana. So you can really see how all the pieces of footage are lining directly up with the actual leaks that we have been talking about for a number of months now. Now, with that being said, the last thing I just want to tap into here real quick is that I'm really intrigued as to exactly who is going to portray Rey's father in the film. Could it very well be possible that they gave Matt Smith a specific role since he was deleted as the Dark Acolyte from Episode 9, and maybe, and just maybe, they wanted to give him a role such as him being Rey's father, also known as Palpatine's son, in Episode 9. That's a very big possibility that Matt Smith took over the role of Rey's father in order to still give him a little bit of a role in The Rise of Skywalker. So anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.